What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 114. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
We are not amused.
Oh. Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo.
Adam Vale.
Sparta!
And Brian Manjoma.
How about them space Nazis, huh?
Yes. Hey, man, I liked Wolfenstein. That was a good game.
That was hard, man.
Star Wars.
Hard.
Space Nazis.
No, they are space Nazis. By the way, that's the reason Brett isn't with us tonight. He's watching Star Wars.
That's not Star Wars. That's a Star Wars story.
Oh, and that's the reason you're not gonna go see it, right, Manny?
I should just
boycotting that.
I should just say, like, yeah, I'm not gonna see any of these side movies. Just watch the main shit.
Oh, actually good though, Manny. That's the thing. Like,
what if Kojima was working on him?
I wouldn't give a shit either. I mean, I'm just looking at this film and I just don't see anything that interests me at this point in time.
Is Darth Maul in it?
Manny's like a woman lead.
I can't say.
I don't care if it's a woman lead or not. It just seems like it's just, huh?
Manny, I had like the exact same issue as you. I seen like all the stuff, and I was like, I have no interest. But then I went to see it just to for the fun of it, and I enjoyed it. It was an actual good film, on its own.
I'll just wait. I'll just wait for it to come out on DVD.
Hey, go ahead, say it. Say it.
Space Nazis were actually good.
The Space Nazis.
Seriously, they felt really well played space Nazis.
They actually felt evil as opposed to retarded as they usually are. It's like, hey, look, we're an intergalactic army who can't shoot straight.
Yes.
Although they shoot straight, they fuck up some shit.
All right.
What about my man Ghost Dog? Does he fuck up shit?
Ghost Dog.
No, he just sits around being fat, I'm sure.
Damn.
I keep forgetting his real name. I just call him Ghost Dog all the
Forrest
time.
Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, damn, that reminds me of a movie.
Yeah,
the
Ghost Dog, man. Remember Ghost Dog?
I remember that. He was in the hood.
Yeah, I would say the FBI guy from friggin' that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Is it
Kickboxer?
No, that's
not the other one. It's the other one that everyone gets mixed with.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport, yeah.
I'm thinking about Lionheart.
Breakdancing.
Lionheart. What about Ip Man? Is he good in that? Isn't Ip Man in that movie?
Yeah, he is.
They don't waste him like they did in Blade 2, where he just shows up and then dies.
Damn. Man, he's spitting the fire.
Hey, man, freaking Donnie Yen was in that goddamn movie, and what does he do? He has a 2-second fight and then dies.
He slipped. I don't know.
He's on a banana. I want to go see Star Wars, but I'm going to wait until it becomes less Arctic, man. I don't know how it is in Pennsylvania, but I'm guessing it's pretty bad out there too. I see that sweater on, man.
Today it was pretty icy. Like for a while we were able to keep this. We didn't even need to have the heat on. We live on the top floor here. We're just all the heat from the other apartments kind of heat ours. But today it was just frosty throughout the whole building. I meant through the whole apartment.
Well,
it's crazy.
All right, supposed to get a blizzard tonight.
Oh my god, forget it, man.
Iowa.
Fuck that. I was supposed to go into the geek offices today. I was like, nope, fuck that shit. That's why I'm glad I work from home, man. Imagine if this was like a 9 to 5, I'd be like, fuck, I'm screwed now,
Nah, man, you gotta get that Uber. What is it? A plow truck? Yeah.
Yeah, no snow though, but it was crazy. But anyway, so we're here for the year-end special. So we're gonna switch things up this time around. Usually, what we used to do was we give you the top 3 stories that happened in the year, and then we talk about our favorite games. We're still gonna talk about our favorite games, but this time I want to do something different. I want each of us tell what we thought was the biggest gaming story, that happened and stuff. So we're
good or bad, right?
Yeah, good or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, So I'm gonna go around the room right now. So Adam, let's start with you, man. What do you think was the biggest thing that happened?
The biggest story. That's simple. It was the overhype for No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
I could not I'm telling you, when I first saw this, when it popped up at that Sony event, I'm like, okay, that's cool. And all of a sudden, people online, oh my god, it's the future evolution again. I'm like, No, where do you see that shit? I see your first person view guy get into a plane, he flies off, and that's it, an empty space. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? And that was it. And but people blew it up. And I think that's really what caused the downfall. It put so much pressure. Remember, that team was like what, 16 people? You know what I mean? Put all this pressure on them, and it's like, is it gonna have this? Is this gonna have that? Can you go to other planets? Can you create a Death Star? Can you do, you know what I mean? It's like, you integrated with Call of Duty space? Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah, he just said yes to everything.
Yeah, he said yes, because what is he gonna say? He's freaking out. This is their first real big game. I mean, besides the what was it? Joe Danger. I mean, no one gives a shit. I mean, yeah, Joe Danger was fun, but it wasn't game breaking or changing.
Nobody gives a shit.
It was Excite Bike.
Yeah, it was pretty much a modern day Excite Bike, and it was cool and all, but still, I'm like, and I was like, I don't see it, and everybody was all hyped, and people at my job pre-order, can't wait. I'm like, and then the next day, people came in. I was like, how was it? It was all right. I was like, Joe, you've been hyped all week about this. Yeah, it was okay. And then the next week, it just started fading out. What are you playing? Oh, some other stuff. What happened to No Man's Sky? Oh, yeah. I played some of that. It's like it just faded. It's gone. And it's because of all the hype. And I don't know I think if they would have came clean and said, hey, listen, we're 16 guys. This is not exactly what you guys think it's going to be. But it should be fun, and
we'll continue to be adding all the things you expect.
Yeah. Just come clean. Yeah, it's like, oh, we're not gonna have this and creatures and space battles and all this stuff. It'll come later on, But right now, this is what you're getting. They didn't do any of that stuff. They just spit that game out, And then the uproar. This is crap. I want a refund. I'm gonna sue you. I was like. It was such a disaster. And I mean, this is, if anything, it's an awakening for other small development teams that are working on something unique to basically come clean and don't promote it like it's the second coming of gaming, but like, be honest. Listen, we got some cool new features that haven't been really done in other games, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but what I don't understand about this game is like, why did this game specifically like make people get so rabid? I mean, remember when it was announced that the game was going to get
news? Let's go back to fake news. Let's bring that up. That's all I can think of.
I don't know, like when the game was announced, like basically the rumor came out or a leak that the game was going to get delayed. The reporter got death threats. Then when it was confirmed that it was delayed, the developer got death threats. I'm like, wait, so you're going to kill the people that are going to bring you the game that you want, and then people that like dissented against the game, they were getting death threats. So I'm like, you guys are like, obviously death threats, we don't condone that shit, but you guys are making death threats for the wrong game. I don't understand what it is with this game specifically. Like, I played it, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I didn't go in there thinking it's like the end all be all, and it leads me to think like, is this generation that bad that we had to put all our hopes into this one game, and when it let us down, we just went fucking crazy? I don't understand it till this day. I don't understand the rabidness against this fucking game. I don't fucking get it.
It was a snowball effect. It's a snowball effect of everybody hyping each other up.
Sony picked it up.
Yeah, it's like for a big fight. It's like for a big fight. It's like, oh, this guy's gonna fight this guy. It's like, yeah, did you hear he beat like 15 other guys? What, really? Yeah, he's got this nasty hook. Oh shit, I can't wait to see. And he's been knocking people out left and right. If you really dig into it, you find out he was fighting a bunch of nobodies. But that wasn't the case. Everybody was like, what? They're gonna be amazing. And no one was looking back at what they had created before. Like we said, Joe Danger. How do you jump from no danger to some amazing, endless open world universe? Like, you don't.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, especially with a small ass team.
Yeah, with a small ass team. Come on.
One thing I do have to say, what is there is pretty impressive for the size of the team, but I feel like at the when it started getting to the point where he's doing interviews every 2 seconds, that's the moment when I felt like, I already saw the first one. I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. And I feel like they should have just left it at that. The constant interviews and all these different things all over the place that's what made me at the time say, I don't know about this No Man's Sky thing.
Yeah, and then obviously, it's pretty interesting because Sean Murray was all over the place right before this game came out. When it came out and the backlash happened, this guy he's still kind of in hiding. He's
silent. He went silent.
It's crazy what's happened here, and I don't know, man. Like I said, I still believe part of it has to do with the fact that this generation has been so barren. People had to cling their hopes on something, and then I also want to ask, how much culpability does Sony have into this?
Yes.
Because they hyped the fuck out of this game
They-
too,
But
They-
then it's like, what
you know?
came first? Did the fandom come first or Sony? Because I mean, Sony just showed it off, and people took it from the next level and started going nuts online.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why Sony was like, you know what? Let's back this one. Because remember, that was just one of many games that they showed off.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
you're right about that. But Carlos, what are you gonna say about Sony's involvement in this?
Yeah, because at first this game was just supposed to be this like special indie game,
Yeah,
and then once they hooked up with Sony, they started doing all the delays because they started promising more shit. Like they added requirements to the game, and people were asking, "Oh, does it have this? Does it have this?" And they just kept saying yes. So after they had to release the game, and yeah, it's a $60 game that should have been
Never, yeah.
like it should have been $30 maybe at tops.
And
yeah,
who
but
knows,
I
maybe
think
that was
I-
the plan.
Yeah, I think so. But Adam, I think you might be onto something. I think they showed the game off at the E3, right? And then it started blowing up so much. Sony was like, "Okay, we're gonna hook on this now," And then they blew it up to these stratospheric levels. But at the same time, they must have known what this product finally was. I mean, this is a problem I'm noticing in general with gaming this generation. It's like it doesn't matter what the actual product is. The hype will sell it. It's worked for some games like Destiny and shit, but for other games like Evolve and No Man's Sky, the hype just isn't enough to sustain it. Like, yes, I realize that No Man's Sky is actually a financially a successful game just because of the hype. The Watch Dogs had the same shit, but it seems like we're getting sold hype now instead of the actual content.
Yeah, but I feel
And
like
No Man's Sky is a perfect example
I
of
feel
that.
like we need to watch these things. Everybody has to watch these things a little more closer to see what it is, because in any of those No Man's Sky little features that they've shown, they really didn't show. I mean, other than one of them showing like space battles, right? They really didn't show that much. It's the same thing with the Evolve. I'm like, that's what the gameplay is, and that's all you're getting. You're gonna get beat up the monster, and the monster fights you. Same thing with even Titanfall. The original one.
Yeah.
That was all you got. That's it. You just got this. You got a multiplayer game, and everybody has to kind of keep their shit in check and look at these things for what they are, and try to see past all the other bullshit that these guys keep on spitting out at you.
But the issue with this is that they promise shit. They lied to us. They lied to us on stuff that was supposed to be in the game.
Though, to be honest, I even said this earlier in the show. I said I wouldn't be surprised if this game isn't anything but you just go around on. I'm like, what do you do in this game? Other than collecting a bunch of shit, what do you do in this game? It's all there for you, sitting right there. You just got to look past all the promises. I'm like, you think 14 developers or 16 developers are going to create a game where you can do all these different things? Yeah, maybe if they had like 5 years or more, another 5 years or something like that.
You see how long it takes Rockstar to create those worlds, and that's a massive team.
And the thing is that the thing with the Rockstar world is that here's the part of the No Man's Sky thing is that they created an environment where it automatically just, based on a bunch of parameters, it creates planets. So for the most part, these guys don't need to do a damn thing because everything's being made for them. So it's just creating the engine that makes these procedurally made planets on the fly. But at the same time, that there's all this stuff that could easily break it. And they even said it in one of their interviews. They're like, yeah, you could just change one thing and then it fucks up the other part of it. For Rockstar, it's like I feel like their worlds are a little bit more complicated for the fact that every single building and thing needs to be placed by an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all deliberate. It's not just random, And then, my final question about this is, and Chris, I'm directing this at you. Why do gamers keep falling for this? It's like they keep getting hyped, they keep getting disappointed, but they never seem to learn. Why is that?
It's just being fans. That's what people do. It's like that with everything. Whatever someone's interested in, and then other people would jump up behind it, and then they start justifying why they want it.
6 times in 1 year, why don't you get whys? I don't get that.
The problem is that when people start to get excited about something that may pique their interest, a lot of times, and this is a problem now more than in the past and ever before, is that people rely on just their intuition and feelings about a game and not any of the facts or presentation to determine whether they're excited or not. So they start imagining what could be, and then what could be becomes what
reality
is.
to them. Yeah, they
Right,
start
yeah.
thinking, wow, this is real. It's like you just made that shit up like 2 months ago, but now
Yes,
you're believing it.
And this happens so much with so many products. I see that with the Switch, people started making up features and stuff when we had no information.
Yeah.
And like game launches and all this stuff, and it's like none of this is real. This is just what you would like to happen, and people cannot now separate their feelings from the facts of the matter. So when Sean Murray's going around, and he did not help by going on talk shows and everywhere, and getting asked like, well, we'll have this, and just yesing everyone to death and setting those expectations. So he made a bad situation even worse.
See, and I'm sure it was Sony's people that were setting up all those interviews.
No, Sony's people should have been handling those interviews.
Yeah, they should have been.
He was not prepared to go out on a public stage and talk to guys like Colbert and Conan O'Brien and IGN and all these guys and get pressured with tough questions, and he cracked and he lied.
Yeah, and then of course, as soon as the game ended up being what it was, Sony superly distanced themselves. You notice that, right? They're like, "Hey, we had nothing to do with that." It's like, damn, dude, really?
I wouldn't
leave these guys
if they do a
because,
rebranding.
let's just be honest, man. Because if this game was a massive success, right? Like, or at least a critical success, Sony would be like, yup, they'd be hyping up even more. They distance themselves really quickly.
I think, but I think that also here's the other thing about Sony. They invest in creators, and the thing is that for better or for worse. So I mean, I think they invested in this creator, this studio to create this game. Either if it sinks or it fails. It sinks or it swims. Excuse me.
Yeah,
it's like the order.
So I think that's the thing about them. It's like, okay, they'll put the money into it. It sounds like a decent idea. Okay, we're making this we're going to make this investment. They're not one to kind of kill things right away. Like, I mean, if any of this shows how much they go work with this stuff, it's like, look at The Last Guardian. Look how long it took to develop that thing. There's a bunch of other games that they've, like The Puppeteer. The Puppeteer was pretty much a failure, but they still invested in it.
I'd like to see how
they're still investing in Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush is a good game, but it's not like a system seller sort of game.
Shenmue 3.
They're still, and they're putting money into Shenmue. They're putting money into Kojima. Kojima doesn't have a game yet.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, we're not saying it's bad to invest money in like IPs and stuff. I just think it's bad when somebody's running around like lying essentially, and they're not going, "Hey, this is on our system. You're kind of lying."
Here's the thing: did Sony know that they were lying? I don't know if they were. I know
that is a good question. Yeah, because Sony may have been told the same shit we were told. There's also the thing is that these guys probably promised. They obviously promised a lot of things that they weren't able to do. Maybe they had intentions to put these sorts of things in the game, but at the same time, it's like deadline, get it out.
Yeah, but the problem is Sony's ultimately responsible for basically the false advertising that he put out. So I know they took a hands-off approach with them till they're like, guys, it's been too long. You got to put out something. But they should have been checking up every so often. If he's saying, yeah, you can have fleets, then it's like, show me the beta or the alpha version where the fleets. Show me the fleets and show me this. Like, they didn't product check it at all, right? And then what came out? Like, just empty promises.
Yeah, crazy,
again, what could have fixed this situation right away is the fact that if they went out there and said, okay, this is the game, there's going to be some options that will be missing from it, but but we will continue to update the game to bring it up to the standards and the whatever we wanted to originally. I mean, fucking those guys, the friggin' of Square literally goes out there and said, oh yeah, Final Fantasy's not finished. We're going to add some shit to it. They literally admitted it. So
yeah.
once it's already in your hands and people are pretty happy or whatever, just give them another thing and say, hey, listen, and we know it's not exactly what you wanted, but we'll add shit to it. So it's not like just like, they put the game out and then just go, whoop, just walk away and cover their mouth, and you don't ever see them again. Then it sounds like a scam.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, a lot of people did feel like this was a huge scam, but yeah, definitely a good pick for one of the crazier stories of the year. But let's move on here. Chris, man, what you got?
It was tough to decide because there's a lot of odd stories and a lot of lame shit, but I'd say I'd go with the Counter-Strike Go lottery scam.
Oh yeah, this. Yeah, break that down for anybody who may not know about this shit.
Okay, so there was a couple of popular CS:GO YouTubers. I think Syndicate. I forgot the other guy's name, but basically they started a company. They started a gambling site for CS:GO, but they didn't tell their viewers that they owned it. Right, so they were putting out videos saying, "Look how much money I won on this thing, and it's so easy and whatever." Meanwhile, they rigged it so that they would win. Right, they own it.
Yeah.
So they had people, gambling on the site and losing tons of money. It was a huge scam, and they got called out. I think maybe Jim Sterling and a couple other people actually pointed this out, and they got caught. Right. And afterwards, they did these half apologies and whatever. They're basically scamming people. They were scamming their own viewers and subscribers out of like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but more than that, what they were doing was actually illegal because think about it. You had minors gambling, right?
Yes, that's what got them in trouble. That's what got Valve involved. It was the age they were letting kids gamble. They didn't care.
Yeah, that was nuts, man. That was like complete. And and then they were also gambling in states that didn't allow gambling, and then it raised up questions about internet gambling and all that. And yeah, you're right. Valve only got involved, when the kids got mixed up into it, because before all that, Valve was just letting it all happen,
Right, and they weren't to be fair, they weren't the only gambling site for Counter-Strike. But then when that blew up, oh, kids can gamble on there. Then Valve was like, what? Oh, hold on, all this is done.
Yeah, it's insane, man. But yeah, but just the shadiness of these dudes, they were like, oh yeah, like look how much money I won using the site. It's like the site that you created, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They didn't disclose that information.
Like a Catholic church. Yeah, man. Oh, Adam, what's your take on all this silliness?
Oh, man, I mean, I feel like it's been happening in other forms. I mean, look at EA with their foot teams. Remember with the coins, and we've heard all those scandals years later about like, oh, people spending thousands of dollars on buying packs, or some kid running up his dad's credit card that's on there, and it's like, well, he's a minor and this is part of a game. Maybe there should be some kind of disclaimer. It's like, nope, he purchased the game and you don't need to be 18 and over to play it. But yeah, but you sort of kind of have like a gambling aspect in this also with just purchasing all these cards and stuff. But I think that's just something that's now linked to all these games with microtransactions. Backdoor ways.
They're looking, a lot of ways with microtransactions. They're looking for people to be stupid, and they're looking for stupid kids. They don't say this sort of shit, but it's there for you, right in your face. It's like, okay, you have your credit card connected. You give it to little Jimmy. Okay, so what happens? Little Jimmy decides to buy some more fucking coins.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and this is why free-to-play games already have a bad rap. A lot of people, when they hear, oh, it's free-to-play, I don't want to play this shit, because you already feel like you're getting a half-ass game, and that at some point going to be asked to start paying for certain content, and eventually you'll probably end up paying more than what a full game costs.
Exactly. So, because it tricks you. It's like, it's only $1 here, it's only $1 here,
$1 there. Oh, you want to keep going? Oh, you want to go to that special planet? $10. $10 gives you that planet. Okay, once you get there, there's a special vehicle, or you could keep walking. Oh, all right. How much is a vehicle? $4. You know what I mean? It just starts adding up.
Yeah, and then when you get kids involved, they're just they don't care. They're just gonna buy. They don't know what the value of money is and shit. Like, oh yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, they're using their parents' credit cards.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. It's like kids. No one knows the value of money because no one's dealing with money. I mean, the markets realize that it's a lot. People tend to use their cards online a lot faster, and they don't really think too much about it because it's not like a hand to cash transaction where you're actually seeing money leaving you. So it's like to click a button. It's like, oh, okay, and now I have it. Yeah, and now you have this bill that's piling up later on because of all this shit that you've been buying. And that's how they're getting people.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I mean, has there been a follow up to because I wrote about this story, but I didn't know if there's a follow up. Are these guys going to go to jail or anything? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to find out.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. All right, Carlos, man, what you got?
All right, so Adam took mine.
Oh,
talk about No Man's Sky, but I did have a backup, and the backup is. And it's in a form of a question mark.
Oh boy.
Is PSVR successful? Did it have a successful launch? And
I think we should ask the bigger question.
Is it good?
Is VR
successful?
Yeah.
Too soon, I think.
Let's talk about VR because that was obviously a very big story this year, and a lot of people. It's too bad Brett is in here right now because he was a big proponent of it. A lot of people thought this was the next big thing in gaming and stuff because they felt like, okay, gaming's hit a wall. We need to innovate, and then other people, mostly guys here on Throwdown, were like, nope, I don't know about this shit, and it seems like right now. VR isn't taking off. Like obviously, when Oculus Rift and HTC Vive, they're very expensive, $600, $800 respectively, came out. They sold out right away, and after that, it trickled out. PlayStation VR, it didn't even do that well to begin with. Like it did well for the first week, and then that's it.
That's it. It got the hardcore. The hardcore went out, and they showed their wallet. So like, here it is. We want it. We want to support it. But then you can't live on them alone. You need the casual gamers.
Yeah.
You need the masses, and those people haven't turned out.
And the shame with this whole thing is, well, just with PSVR in particular, because Sony has their own game studios and their first party developers, they didn't release any must-have games for this system. They released a whole bunch of shovelware and tech demos to have to demo, to tell people what it can do, but they never released an experience that was worth the purchase of the system.
What they're trying to say now is that Resident Evil 7 is that.
Resident Evil. Let's talk about Resident Evil 7 real quick because I actually played it, right? And that's what the developers told me. It's like this is the first full AAA game on VR, and that's something that's missing. All these VR games that are right now, they're just small little games, like 1 or 2 hours, and you're done. This is the first big game.
There's a tie-in with that because from what I've heard of people that played it, they said you can't play more than an hour before you start getting sick.
Yeah, well, everybody has different reactions. Like I told you, my reaction is I can't play it for more than 30 minutes before getting really sleepy because, basically, for you guys who read books, you'll know about this. Like if your eyes are just concentrating on one thing, you're not blinking and shit, and you just get tired. So that's what happens to me. With other people, like you said, they get sick. Drive Club was a big offender that people just vomit and shit.
I used to get sleepy, like what you said. I used to get sleepy with the 3DS when I used to do the 3D on that because you had to focus centered, and I'm focused. I'm like
exactly. So even Resident Evil, I understand Resident Evil is the first big AAA VR game, right? Or game that has VR because you played without VR. But I don't even think that's going to be enough, man. Like I call this, and I'm not trying to be cynical, skeptical, but it's just I know gamers, man. Nobody wants to come home at the end of the day, put this fucking thing on your head with all these goddamn wires and do all this crazy shit. People just want to plop down, pick up a controller, turn on the TV, and play. That's it. They don't want to go through all this extra shit. And then on top of that, right now we're living in the age where it's all about 4K, high res. Right, VR games look like fucking shit because they have to.
And Tony, let's talk about this. They released PSVR October.
October.
What did they release November?
Yeah, the PS4 Pro, which apparently was kind of made so it could make VR look better. That's what I heard. That's one of the reasons.
Right. That's what everybody heard.
But what did they advertise it as? 4K.
Yeah, 4K.
So TV, 4K. Callback. But anyways, this was supposed to be the 4K system, the system that would play games in 4K. So where does that leave PSVR, the system you released a month prior to that? That's why I had so much issues with what Sony was doing, how they were like, they released a Slim 1 month, the next month they released a PSVR, and then the month after that they just released a PS4 Pro. It's like there's not a market for all of those things to happen at once.
And then at PSX, members, they were still advertising with the Vita. We got more games for the Vita.
Yeah, but I mean that's a Sony thing. But with VR in general, I think it's safe to say VR flop. I think it is.
I'll give it this year.
I know Brett will disagree, but I think it's safe to say VR. Just like we called it, is done. You know,
and Oculus and Vive are too damn expensive to have for the normal consumer. Because not only do you need to pay a shit ton of money for just the systems and the sensors and everything, but you need a capable PC to play those things. So,
exactly, and that's going to be a pretty penny too. So you're looking at upwards of maybe like $2,000 for. And let's just be honest, even if you plunk down that type of money, you're still getting the same shit you're getting on PSVR. These tech demos, basically, you know.
Yeah,
VR, man. That shit, we called it. That shit was gonna dead on.
It's a novelty. It's a novelty thing.
Yeah, Chris, get in here, man. I know you have something to say about it.
Can I just like jump in like really quick?
Go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
You said you like you're still getting the same thing on PSVR, which is a bunch of tech demos. Yeah. That's not entirely true. Like on the PC side, there's a whole bunch of like other experiences, like far more than PSVR.
So name me. Okay, on PC, name me one. I'm not even going to challenge you. One AAA full 10-hour plus game on VSVR.
I'm not saying AAA. I just mean like a whole different experience. But since
a rock climbing game, I think
Rise to Challenge
that one.
Elite Dangerous. Fully playable.
There you go. And that's a fully VR game, right?
Yep. Fully available in VR. And that's
there you go.
Like small, like indie title. Well, technically it is an indie title, but it's damn good game.
And my question is it a VR system seller?
Oh no! Like for the
see what I mean?
Yeah, they won't move systems, but you don't really get the same experience. Like I said that on VR, like the experience just will not be the same because it's a small system. Like you won't get the experiences that you should be getting in VR, and that's
the experiences. You know, just be comprehensive here.
Elite Dangerous, like space sims. Like this thing is like VR is pretty much built for space sims. Anything that's in first person, like cockpit view stuff, then it's built for. Like
but the PSVR has it has Eve, just like PC does. So it still has that too. I don't see the differences between the PC version.
That's like a game set in space. It's not like a space sim. Like the two things are kind of different, in my opinion. But anyway, what I was getting at is that the experiences are vastly different. Like there's been guys that are like modding VR into like GTA 5 and Skyrim because like they can, so these experiences are out there and it's just not the same. So I don't think it's fair to lump the two together as like, hey, VR is all the same experience when on the two platforms it's kind of not.
Yeah, but that's like saying PC and consoles are different experiences, which they are. So, you know what I'm saying? Like everything you're telling me, it's like I don't see a difference other than modding. It's the same shit at the end of the day. You're plopping down this expensive ass thing in your head to play I know Elite Dangerous is a full game, but essentially tech demos and stuff.
I say it's like as I said, like the games that they mod like VR into, like I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember that there's like GTA 5 mod for like, hey. Yeah. You play GTA 5 in VR, and it's like, oh shit, that's fucking GTA 5,
Okay, no, I'll give you that, but I'm still not seeing any VR system sellers on the PC side either. You
won't get to them as such because, like, I don't know how you would make a VR system seller. Like, it'd have to be something that works best in VR and doesn't work well without VR, which I don't know.
I always felt like a table tennis game would work well. It's the headset. I'm just saying, think about it. You got your move or whatever you pan. That just works. You don't have to do too much and it could look amazing. I think it could work.
Yeah. Anyway, Chris, get in here, man. What are your thoughts on the fate of VR?
Well, I think Brian brought up a good point, but I think that Sony and all these guys should have worked with developers to have that stuff out. Like it shouldn't be up to modders to say, hey, we could put GTA 5 in VR. That should have been Sony and everybody pushing like, hey guys, if we had GTA 5 ready when PSVR launches, that shit will be solid, right? But you didn't. You have like a lot of walking simulators and all that shit. That's not enticing people. It's the resolution isn't high enough, the titles aren't there. in the beginning. When you have a weak launch, it's hard to like. It's an uphill battle to sell this thing, you know.
Yeah.
And like you
It's
said,
oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was going to say, besides the tech heads and the early adopters and all that stuff, you lose everyone else because you're asking people to shelve out $600 to $900 extra dollars on top of the console,
for nothing, you know.
Yeah, it's a tough sell, and like we predict, it's petering out, and there's not enough there. I don't even think we don't know anything about Resident Evil 7. We're counting on Capcom here, who hasn't had a good track record of late. To pull it out. Like the demo is good, but we don't know the full game, and we don't know how interesting it'll be in VR. I never got to see it in VR, but I'd like to, but that's it. What else? If there's nothing else, for people who don't want to poop themselves while they're playing VR, what else? What other options do they have besides looking at dinosaurs or swimming in the ocean, or
Look, I'm going to call it right now, man. Like, I'm pretty sure Resident Evil is going to be, from what I played, because I actually changed my mind about the game. I'm like, okay, I'm getting this shit now. This is good from the demo I played. But I don't think it's going to save VR either. I think VR was always destined to be just a gimmick, Like, yes, they made better VR than they did with, the Virtual Boy back in the day, They at least did that. But, no, man, this is not like... They need to get it better. Like when they can make it simple as like just regular glasses you put on, then maybe. But right now, it's done. It's done. I call that shit. It's done.
Especially now with this 1080p bullshit in your eyes.
1080p. It's not even 1080p, man. That shit is like, what is the actual resolution of VR? It's like less than that shit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Depending on the title, it's pretty low.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's like, and again, we're living in the age of 4K, right? And you're gonna put out some shit that it's like.
I mean, they think about it. Honestly,
but at the same time, but think of how expensive it was to actually put this one out in the resolution that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of how much it would be to make 2 fucking really high resolution screens on that shit.
Yeah, well, think about it. The HTC Vive and Oculus Rift, right? They have better resolution. They're expensive as fuck. Yeah. But even then, even if you have a really nice resolution, right? What? I know I don't really like going to theoreticals, but let's just go into it. Let's say VR was at 4K resolution, you'd still get the same fucking game, so it doesn't matter.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, Batman. Wasn't Batman a big seller?
Batman was shit. I played that. It was garbage.
Well, no, he's asking if it was a seller, not if.
Yeah, wasn't that a big seller?
No, it probably was because it had the name Batman that people were done with. That was
the only one I remember seeing commercials for. Like VR games. It was.
Your titles are suffering when one of your best sellers is a bona fide Tetris remake.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Res, right?
No, not Res.
Super Hyper Cube or whatever.
Man, yeah, in VR, you put a fork in it, man.
I appreciate that it exists, but I also think it's also the victim of the blind hype that happens when these sorts of things come along, where it's like everybody's imaginations of what it potentially can be, and then the reality comes out. Mm-hmm. The thing is that everybody has to really I know it's difficult, guys, but it's you have to temper your excitement for things. Yeah. Just because you have to prepare yourself, because as soon as that thing comes along, it may not be exactly what you thought it would be. And we've seen that. Isn't that the theme of this year? That's the overall arching theme of this year. Everything is not what you think it's going to be.
That is true. That is true. Across the board.
The board.
Oh,
the Cubs won the World Series. Come on.
Yeah, right. All right, let's move on here. Brian, man, what you got?
Well, my first one was going to be No Man's Sky, but then I had followed my backup, which was Mighty Number 9.
Man, like hype and disappointment.
Not what everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the original one, right, Brian?
Yeah, that game. I don't know what happened to that game. Like when it came out, like you guys were all excited about that game.
Yeah, man.
As time went on, the excitement just fell off, and then like trailer after trailer was just like this bad, and then they had like that one prom night trailer that everyone just like lost their shit about, and then it came out, and it's like, oh wow, this game is terrible.
Yo, man, this game is busted.
Disappointment,
I got
man.
weary when they put it on hold, and he said, "Well, we plan on releasing it for everything." And I'm like, "Oh no."
Yo, I not pre-ordered. I kickstarted this thing, right, because it was coming to PlayStation 3 at the time, right? And they said, hey, and then when PlayStation 4 was coming out, I was like, okay, we're gonna upgrade you to 4. Cool. I got the code on Steam. I never saw the PS4 one, and I also bought that fucking box and shit. I didn't get any of that either.
What? You didn't get the box?
It, because here's the thing. I I most people, I pre-ordered this game because I wanted to update Mega Man, because Capcom's not giving us Mega Man. It didn't work, man. Like, it got so bad. I'm like, you know what? Let me just pop in actual Mega Man and get the fix I want, because this isn't giving it to me. What a disappointing game on so many levels, man. It looked like shit. It played like shit. It sounded like shit. Fucking what a disappointment. I never even beat it. It was just not pleasant to play.
Manny, you beat it, right?
No, I haven't beaten it. I'm still having trouble at the sniper level.
Yeah, I know.
That already sounds wrong. Oh,
yeah, there's this sniper guy, right? And you have to essentially get to him, and then you have to do something to him. I just haven't realized what it is that you have to do yet, and that's what's got me stopped at that point.
Yeah, but Manny, what are your thoughts? So you weren't as negative on No Man's Sky. I mean, not No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I for Mighty Number 9. At the same time, I say I was already. I even at the time I was saying people are putting a little bit too much to this game. It's not the greatest game, but I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fine for what it is, but I think that the hype that was behind it literally automatically caused the disappointment. I mean, obviously, yes, you're gonna have hype for a new Itafune game, the guy who left Mega Man and all, Capcom, that's all the things that are right there. But I feel like, again, we have to temper our excitement for these sorts of things.
You think that Kojima is going to have the same problem?
I even said this before. I said, I'm supporting the Death Stranding thing, but I don't, there's a good chance the game might be a total piece of shit.
Wow. But I'm willing. No, a great total piece of shit.
But I'm willing to make the gamble on it.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, did you back Mighty Number 9?
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh man. Yeah. What's your thoughts on all this madness?
I will not trust Kenji Inafune again. Ever. I mean, I'm still willing to back stuff. Like the last thing I backed was the Leonard Nimoy documentary done by his son, which is a thing. You can even watch it on Netflix right now. And I got my name in the credits because I backed it. So that's something that I backed and I was proud to do, and it happened, right? But I trusted Kenji Inafune because of his pedigree, and then he just totally whiffed with this game. And then I was upset, and I yelled. Tony and I both commented on this. What we were shown to get our money wasn't what we got at the end. They completely flubbed it.
Like, you saw that one tech demo they did, like, oh wow, this looks amazing. But then because the game needed to be on every system under the sun, they had to downgrade the graphics, and they just ended up looking like shit, like a PS2 game, What? Exactly. Yeah, horrible stuff, man.
And the worst part is that it put a big damper on Kickstarter games, because then people burnt for good reason, and it's and then people got this whole thing is okay, maybe Kickstarter game is not a good thing, which is a fair point, but at the same time, even though we have gotten really good games from Kickstarter, we've gotten some really bad games.
Broken Age, I think, is the only real success story when it comes to Kickstarter.
Even Broken Age was mired in controversy, because remember, they released only half the game. They delayed it because they had to add all these voice actors and shit. So even that, man.
There's some Ukulele that was Kickstarter, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah,
in April, apparently, hopefully. So yeah, there's that.
I also backed that.
There's Citizen, which is still
you never learn, Chris.
Listen, I support games just like I support the arts, right? I'm willing to give these guys a chance because this is former Rare. They've made quality games. So I'm okay. And at least they have more sense than Inafune. They dropped the Wii U version. It's good. Don't drag your fucking game down by trying to port it to that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing is like Brian brought this up. Yeah, it really did sour people on Kickstarters. After that, I'm like, I'm not supporting shit. Shenmue came out. I'm like, nope, I'm not supporting nothing now because this game, and that's kind of sad, because they did kind of ruin it for everybody else.
I understand why people back Kickstarters, but like me, like principally, like I cannot like do a Kickstarter. I think it's like fucking false bullshit. It's like why do you support financially the production of a video game and not have any stakes on the video game? Like, you know what I mean? Like you're a stakeholder regardless, but you don't have any like stock into the game. Like you're one of the like main reasons why this game was like even created. You're essentially like the people are like a publisher.
Well, I mean, it depends on the amount of money you put in. I mean, in some cases, you're putting in a full amount of the game because then it's like, listen, I pretty much just pre-ordered it, and that helps the development. Not all the time do these games ever get big funding. Some of them rely strictly on just common people to give $10-$20 here and there. But I feel like the end goal now, and what we've seen even with Shenmue, is that they want one of these big publishers to jump in and say, hey, you see the interest? You see all these people that are willing to give us $10, $20, $30? It was like, oh, yeah, we do. Okay, now we'll give you the millions you need and go make a big hit.
Yeah.
I think that's always the gamble with the Kickstarter thing. But I think at the same time, it ends up creating things that are genuinely needed, because how do you show that people have any sort of interest or something is going to be, is going to work? I mean, Chris said it right there. He just named a successful Kickstarter, which is the Leonard Nimoy documentary, not to mention a bunch of artists who funded their, art books, some artists that, people have interest in, but, they can't get any big company to say, okay, I'm going to put this out for you.
Yeah, but in this case, the people are the big company. They're the ones that are supposed to hold the artist accountable for what they do because they're funding what they're doing. They're essentially the employer of the people making the things. So that's why I said it's okay. Like if you want to waste your money doing that or like it's fine. But like for me, I feel like principally, like if I'm giving money for something that's getting created, I want stake in whatever is being made because I'm part of the reason why this is getting made. And if, like for example, if Mighty Number 9 when it got created and it made millions of dollars, that's not going to anybody but the creator who didn't spend a dime to make that. They put their passion and everything into it, but financially the stake was in the people, not on the artist.
Yeah, and the investors too, because that's the other thing about Kickstarters. They never tell you like all that money is only like just to show interest in the game, right? The money we give, the vast majority of money comes from investors, So it's kind of like we're like beta testers for and shit, like focus testing,
That's also the other. Yeah, it's not only the show interest in it, but I mean I think definitely for smaller projects. These things happen. There is no investors in it. It comes from the actual cost of the actual thing.
Yeah, fucking bullshit. All right.
Again, it's investing in something like that or putting something into this is always going to be a gamble. But the thing is that everybody's just looking at all the bad side of all the different things that have come out of it, but there are a lot of success stories that have also come out.
I have Ouya
as well.
I backed Ouya. It was a great device, but it just didn't have any legs on it. But
I mean, I backed a couple other things. I backed Tom Bancroft's art book, which I got.
Mm-hmm.
He made it, and it's really.
I noticed that non-gaming Kickstarters don't seem to have this much of a problem. It's
well,
always
they also do, like some comic guys that have out there haven't fulfilled their comic things. These are the gambles that happen, but there are still a lot of success stories that come out of this sort of stuff. So I can't condemn it because again, it's like when it's just like going to the store and buying something. You've put your trust into this object that it would actually work, but there's people have had PlayStations that and Xboxes that have crashed. You're still making that sort of investment.
Now, what about since we're talking? Oh, go ahead, Carlos.
not in the same way, because in many of these cases, the only reason why the product is even getting made is because people are funding it. So, like when you have 360s and physical stuff that was like money that was put in by the publishers and stuff. Well, that they made the investment and they're the ones taking all the chances, not us. But when we invest into something, we're taking all the chances.
Yeah.
The creators.
But again, that is what comes with putting your money into something before you even did it. In fact, every single person that does a pre-order does that too.
Yeah. But on Kickstarter, it also tells you, hey, there's no guarantees. I mean, there's a whole disclaimer.
There's a whole thing behind it. Yes, there are some good ones and there's some bad ones, but I feel like everybody's seeing exactly all the bad ones because they were the largest one, some of the largest ones that we heard about.
Publicity. But there's other stories you've heard out there, besides like these. Like I wrote this one story about these guys who they took all their Kickstarter money for whatever game they're doing and they spend it all on like hookers and blow, basically.
The thing, again, it's like that's the investment. That's the chance that you're going to take. You don't know these people personally. They just sound like they have a good idea. There you go, hookers and blow.
And then Tony, there's your personal favorite, the guy with the potato salad.
Oh my God! $50,000.
Oh, I thought you said his personal favorite was going to be She Who Shall Now Be Named.
There's a bunch of people that did that. All this.
Oh, but see, as ridiculous as that was, he made the potato salad. He didn't promise much, and he delivered it, right?
Yeah, that is true.
If you were dumb enough to pay him,
in that case, it was the people that were stupid. He gave people what they wanted. It's just people were stupid to fall for it.
The problem is you can't. He could have gotten sued for that because there was someone recently on Facebook who got arrested for selling food online without their food license.
He didn't sell the food. All his Kickstarter was that he has never eaten potato salad. Help me get ingredients so I can make potato salad. That literally was his Kickstarter.
Pieces of potato salad.
He got thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yes, he got thousands of dollars. Like
that was a Kickstarter where people jumped in because they just want to be part of the hype. You know what I'm saying?
He got like over 50,000.
And the thing about it, all it needed to be was $1.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he needed.
You just hand this motherfucker $1 and like be on your way. That's how all this. That's all the fucking. Those microtransactions and all that other bullshit works. You get enough. You get 1,000 people. You got $1,000.
Oh, you see a lot of that though now on GoFundMe. GoFundMe has all of that. You see people like, oh, I've never been to Europe, and I'm getting old, or I have some family issues. I want to visit family. Basically just asking for handouts, and some people are getting it.
It's crazy, man. All right, Manny, what you got?
The reveal of the Death Stranding trailer at E3. I say this is, not only because it's the announcement of Kojima's newest game, but at the same time, the friggin' stab in the back with Norman Reedus just showing up in that trailer.
Listen, I'm gonna back up a little bit because this was actually my backup story that you took. I think it's important, because you're talking about Death Stranding. We need to roll it back a little bit, right? Because one of our biggest stories from last year was about all that drama that happened between Konami and Kojima, right? Yep. And this year we saw the vindication of Kojima. He went out there after his contract went up with Konami, right? He went out to every place, right? Going to all these studios. We didn't know what the hell this guy was doing. Now we know he was figuring out how he's going to make his next game. He's figuring out what's the best engine, right? And we finally saw that at E3. This man came, think about like Sony's E3 conference, right? There were no developers. He was the only one.
Yep.
And he came out, like a rock star, basically. He kind of merits that status. And then, earlier this month, the Game Awards came out, and Jeff Keighley, they put a bookend on that shit with all that thing that happened with Konami. But just wanted to give people that bit of a headway, because this story that Manny's talking about, it started last year.
It's like the end of the end of a crazy, insane story. But I mean, I have to say that just a minute. I feel like the Death Stranding trailer wouldn't have had the same pop if it wasn't somebody that they recognized for something that they knew was going to come and got canceled. If
Yeah.
it wasn't Norman Reedus, I feel like it would have been cool if it wasn't Norman Reedus, but I feel like it adds to that point because if they know the minute that they saw Norman Reedus, that automatically brings back the whole idea of the PT and Silent Hills and all that stuff. So obviously he knew what he was doing when he was like, okay, this is going to be some crazy ass like short film, and we're going to throw a naked Norman Reedus in it. Bam.
Yeah, but the genius of that trailer was, if you really dig deep into it, it's about the whole him falling out with Konami. The trailer
that's one of the theories about the whole.
He didn't. There's no compete clause, right? Where it's like, no, you can't make a game in this universe.
He probably has a gag order on him, so he can't talk about anything that's gone on over there or what was happening behind the scenes. Though we do get little hints of it, especially with Jeff Keighley. He's like, yeah, they had him locked in a room and he couldn't talk to his team. I'm like, that's a new one.
Yeah,
I just want to know what he did. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like we don't know what he.
Yeah, we've heard things, but we don't really know.
Like one of the female workers there. Did he do? What did he do that they would just spaz out like that?
What did he do? He went rogue. He went over the heads of Konami executives, and he went and made. He went and put together a team and made the most amazing horror tech demo I've ever seen.
That's one of the things we've heard. Yeah, that basically, he made the PT demo on his own, right? And Konami at the point, they were like, okay. And then when Konami had new management a few months later, they're like, this guy, he can't be doing that shit, just running around like that, And
not to mention the guy who was in charge of Konami also has some bad history with Kojima.
Oh, so there was some shit going on behind the scenes.
There's quite a bit of things that I feel like added to the fact of him getting let go.
And what's with the voice actor for Solid Snake? He said he would never work with Kojima again. He said, forget about Konami.
I'm glad you said that because here's the thing, and we've done it too, where we mostly go on the side of Kojima, but I'm pretty sure Kojima himself may have warranted some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he may be a hard person to work with. We don't know that.
We don't know that.
Considering the type of work he does, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. He seems to be a very exact man about what he wants.
I mean, you hear a lot about Michael Bay, and all this behind the scenes stories, how he's like so hard to work with on movie sets. And
how he screws all his co-stars.
Yeah.
I think for with the David Hayter thing, I think it's the way it works is it wasn't a choice that he made. He didn't choose David Hayter to play the role of Solid Snake.
Yeah, he didn't. That's true.
And I think that's the whole reason why he's not there. Like I think it was the reason why he stayed for so long is because he was a fan favorite. Everybody, he is the voice of Snake. But even Hayter has said it. Like every single occasion, whenever he did the voice of Solid Snake, he had to audition for the role each time. So, which means that Kojima was probably like, I don't know about this guy. I kind of want something different. So I'm thinking
Kiefer? Come on now.
I don't think Kiefer Sutherland is a good choice because he sounds like Kiefer Sutherland, and that's the problem. You look at this character, his voice should feel iconic. It should feel all of this, but yeah. But I did, I mean, that was the first bit of drama that came out of the Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that's what started. And then the thing is, as we noted, it's like all this drama was happening with David Hayter, the American voice actor of Snake. That wasn't happening with the Japanese voice of Snake. This is still the same guy in every game.
Yep, still the same guy. You want to know why? And it's obvious because Kojima chose that guy.
Yeah. There was no drama, because they were trying to say, this is an older, big boss. He's more grizzled. This is why he gets a new voice actor. Okay, yeah. Why didn't that happen with the Japanese one? It's still the same guy. Yeah. Brian, were you gonna say something?
Oh, you're not supposed to know about that.
It brings like a very instant question. Like, is it okay for Kojima to do that? In the sense that, okay, here's a voice actor which the fans liked and has been like a staple for like a decent amount of the series running, but then it conflicted with Kojima's vision of Snake. So there's the conflict between what the fans like and what the envisioner envisions. And is Kojima should someone in that position do that? Should they say, okay, the fans like this person, but I want this person, ergo I'll put this person in this game? Or should he have said, okay, the fans like this person, let's stick with this person, even though that it compromises my vision?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because it goes to the whole thing. It's like, who matters most? Like, is it the creator or the people that consume the creation? Like, at what point does the creation go beyond the actual person that created it? You know what I mean? It's always an interesting question. I mean, that pops up with Star Wars. It's like, yes, George Lucas created Star Wars, but it got to a point where he didn't own Star Wars anymore. It was really the fans that own it now, So that, again, I don't really know if we can actually answer that question. Like, was Kojima right? Is it his right, or is it the fan?
It's just a subjective thing. If you think that
it is,
if you consider video games art, and then it's like, well, art belongs to those who consume it, then yeah, he should have listened to the fans, and David Hayter should have been Snake consistently. But if you look at Metal Gear as a product and not art, then you could say, well, it's a product; they could do whatever they want, so he can make any decisions.
Also, how much did he pay Kiefer to do that? Because I'm sure that
must have paid him a mint, man.
I'll tell you.
that paid him though.
I'll tell you a little secret. This is a voice acting secret. Okay. A lot of time, if we're going to talk about Screen Actors Guild again. If you're going with a voice actor that's within the Screen Actors Guild, a lot of times to hire them for their time ends up being a lot more than getting a famous actor like Kiefer Sutherland. Because they're running by their current rates, and Kiefer Sutherland will just be like, all right, yeah. And he just does it on his spare time. So a lot of times the big actors aren't getting paid crazy well. They're getting paid well, but they're not getting paid as well as the established voice actors. So that means that they get undercut. And that is one of the reasons why professional voice actors hate when like a famous actor does a voice acting role, because a lot of times the famous voice actor is just like, sure, shit, I'll do this. It's how much of my time. And also the other fact of it is that the company is not paying. Most of the time, the big companies are not paying facial licensing rights. Because you also have to pay that on top of, if you're a famous actor, Kiefer Sutherland, you have to pay an additional rights to have him, a character that looks like him in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's interesting.
It's something I learned on a couple of shows where it's like where they had famous voice actor side people, like as characters in the thing. I'm like, oh my God, this thing's probably got to be expensive. It's like, well, not necessarily. A lot of times it's a lot more expensive to hire Cam Clark or any of those other famous voice actors, Steve Bloom and all those guys, than to just get blah, blah, blah to show up for one, some famous guy to show up for one day and do all his lines.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole vindication of Kojima, definitely a big story this year. As far as me, everything I actually like the fact that we didn't really step on each other's toes here, so this is good. For me, this year was the year of the iterative console, right? We first heard rumblings of it from Microsoft. They're like, hey, yeah, we're thinking about maybe coming out with another system that's more like a smartphone. And then Sony say, oh yeah, it's actually coming out this year, and it kind of shifted the focus from games to systems, right? So we've just heard a lot, especially the whole fanboy shit. It got really, really crazy. But now, the whole iterative thing is real. The PlayStation 4 is out. It seems to be a success right now. And, I think it makes sense. It was inevitable, right? Because consoles are, we had a huge ass generation last, gen. They didn't want to repeat that anymore. And, think about this. Cell phones come out regularly, right? Every piece of tech comes out fairly regularly now. Why should consoles be the only piece of tech that comes out every 5 or 6 years? So I understand why they're doing this. Will it be viable? Who knows? Like I said, right now successful, but who knows later on? And, but yeah, I want to get you guys.
I have a theory.
If you think about it, oh, go ahead.
About the whole Scorpio thing with this, because for a while I got to look this up, in fact, but Microsoft was looking to buy Radeon and make the video cards. So let's say if they did buy them, So if they did buy them and they release Scorpio and they make it module where it's like you can then upgrade the video cards yourself, and then they don't have to pay out to anyone because they own the video card that's compatible, the video card manufacturing, then it works in their favor. And a lot of people might jump on that if that's an option.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get to that in a bit, modular consoles and stuff, because that's interesting. But you did bring up a good point, though. It's like consoles are now becoming a little bit not exactly, but a little bit more like PCs, where you get more regular updates now. And part of the reason Sony said they're doing this is because they notice that during the mid life cycle of a console, people tend to move over to PC because they want something more powerful. So they keep people within their ecosystem. Like, okay, let's just release a more powerful console.
But again, we're talking about it's a more powerful console, but do we really see that much of a difference?
No, and that's the thing, though. Like, this console is specifically made for 4K, right?
Mm-hmm.
Graphically, it's still basically the same shit. Let's just be, why, right? Because it needs to be backwards compatible with the previous console. They don't want to just, people are saying, oh, they're splitting the market in half. They're not. It's still the same ecosystem, right? But at the same time, you're not getting a full new console. We're just getting a half measure.
I mean, like when you get a new, we're talking about new smartphones and all that other shit. There is still a definite difference between the different iterations of iPhones. Maybe not the middle ones, like the S versions of them. But
this
you
is an S version if you think about it. If you really think about it, this is the S version of a console, because if you buy an iPhone 4, for example, and next year you buy the iPhone 4S. Not really.
Really. They added a better camera, or maybe some Siri can understand you a little bit more. But other than that, it really doesn't. It's not much of a difference.
Yeah, traditional console cycles are pretty much done at this point.
I can't say. Again, you're saying that it's pretty much done. I still say it's too early to say something like that.
Well, I mean, dude, the PlayStation 4 Pro exists.
It does exist, but does that mean they will consider a PlayStation 4 Pro 2 or any of these other versions that we're talking that you were talking about iterative consoles will exist? This is the litmus test. This is the Pro and the Scorpio.
The Scorpio, that's right.
Will show whether this is a viable thing. I feel like it won't be.
It's just so tricky to try to sell the Pro and the features. Because look, even when watching online, if you're like, "Oh, look at these features," you're really not seeing it. You
can't see it. You don't see a jump, and you don't see like.
You're not using a 4K display, and the video that's streaming isn't in 4K. You're not seeing it the way they do.
Exactly. So you don't if you don't have HDR, if you don't have 4K, you can't. Or if you don't have there's only a certain amount of things that you can actually show to people and say, okay, this is what the PS4 Pro is. For some games, and it's inconsistent across the board.
Exactly.
Like some games get a frame rate bump. Some games get a resolution bump. Some games have a draw distance or tessellation advancement. But that's about it. For the most part, most people aren't looking at the fucking rocks when they're playing goddamn Tomb Raider.
No, you're looking at the water, right?
You know where you're looking. You're not looking at the ground. You're looking at the what's coming up in the distance. So if what's coming up in the distance looks a little bit better, then that's what people would notice. But even then, with Tomb Raider, you don't see it.
Yeah, no, that's right. Like just like VR, right? It's a little bit hard to sell this because if you're watching it on the stream, it's gonna look like shit. Remember the Sony event they had? It's like. They're like, hey, here's the game with HDR turned on. Here's what it's like HDR turned off. It's like, I don't see a difference here. You have to actually be there yourself. Like,
and the thing about the HDR bullshit is that it's available on the normal PlayStation 4.
It is, yeah. They did that for regular PlayStation.
So it doesn't matter. HDR is only a high dynamic range. Probably doesn't have anything to do with processing.
It doesn't because, like you said, the regular PlayStation 4 does it, but you still have to patch it in.
Yeah.
I told you I got that new monitor. I don't get it's for Christmas, so on Christmas I'll open it up, and that has the HDR.
Yeah,
so
it's a $400 one.
The 40 inch.
Yo, Tony, it's a 40 inch. Like Tony, you got to get this.
HDR, the whole thing, $377 Black Friday deal.
Yep,
Samsung.
I got the same shit. Yeah, I got the. My friends. I'm like, yo, you got to check this out. But Chris, what's your take on iterative consoles, man?
I think that's a done deal. Like it's here. I don't think there's a question that they have moved to the mobile game plan of
it's already happened.
Yeah, it's happened. So This is all you, instead of calling this PS4 Pro, you could call it 4.1 or whatever, and they'll just keep going. I mean, we would love modular consoles, but they're not going to do that because actually it's probably cheaper to manufacture it this way.
Yeah,
I mean, Apple
money.
don't let you swap out parts of your phone, and there's no Android phone except for like a niche ones that let you change parts, right? They're all just one system.
So I looked it up. It was last year that AMD, the manufacturers of the video card, they were up for sale, and there was talks that Microsoft was going to buy them. So if they would have bought them then, it would have worked out because then they don't have to worry about paying the manufacturer of the video cards to purchase those cards to import into the console. They'll be like, oh well, we own that company too, so we're making that money either way because you're gonna go buy the new video card. No problem. That's mine. That's ours. That's money in our pocket.
You think people would have taken more to a modular console than a brand new one? Because here's the thing. Let's just be honest. You know why we're getting a brand new console instead of modular consoles? Because they can make more money off you.
Yeah,
they did that with the hard drives though. 360. Remember when they had the module where you can just snap on the top, and those would fly out. I mean, whenever they would release a larger size, everybody knew would just go buy one.
Yeah, that was a design choice though. That was because they knew the Xbox 360 was overheating. Right, you can't put another hot part in a system that's already boiling over, right? So they put it on the outside, and then look, the last iteration of 360, it looks like an Xbox One just shrunk down.
Yeah,
everything is internal.
Crazy, man. Carlos, what's your take on iterative consoles?
Yeah, I think they're here to stay, because if you think about it, they don't need to sell that many consoles each iteration. They just need to sell as many. Like, think about it like this. Just think about PS4 as a lifespan. That includes PS4 when it first came out. That includes the PS4 Slim. That includes the PS4 Pro. And that's going to go on for another year or two, right? Until the PS5 or whatever the next thing comes out. So instead of selling the same product the whole lifespan, they're essentially selling you different products. They're half measures, but they're different products, like in nodes of the timeline. So they sold you the original PS4. People are going to buy it because they're hyped up for the new console. They're buying the Slim because it's cheaper and it's slimmer and everything. And then they're selling the PS4 Pro because it feels kind of new. So and they don't need to sell it that much. Like, they don't need, the PS4 Pro doesn't need to be as successful as a PS5 should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
because it's not a full system, it's just a half system. So it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't actually need to sell a ton.
Exactly. It just
I didn't think about that, but you're 100% right about that. Yeah.
It needs to keep the PS4 brand, like, just keep going, because the sales figures are all in one. So it doesn't really matter like which one of all of these are selling the most. Obviously, they want to sell more Pros, but as long as PS4 number keeps rising, they're gonna, at the end of the life cycle, it's gonna be, PS4 sold over 100 million consoles.
When they did that,
it's also to be honest, it's also a reason to get people to buy the $400 version of the console consistently. Yeah. So at some point, it's like, you have the lower one, and then you have the one, you have a bunch of people still buying a PlayStation 4 at its original cost price.
Right.
To me, it's just like a reason just to keep people paying the original price and not the cut price. Because at the same time, PS4 Pro is, because it's not that big of a leap. They're probably not spending that much extra over the original cost and makes.
Yeah, they're probably actually making a profit off each console. They're not taking a loss.
Reminds me of the Xbox 360 Elite. Do you remember that? It was like the black one, and that one had a bigger hard drive, and internally it had a better video card, and it had more memory. They didn't really advertise that part though, but it still sold. People were like, "Oh, I want that black Elite one." I'm like, it's faster, it's better. Shit, They just didn't know. Now we're in an age where we know everything. All the specs are out there. But if this was maybe a few years back, I don't think people would know what's inside and just call it the Pro and wouldn't even question it. They're like, "Oh, okay."
Interesting. Brian, man, what's your take? Iterative consoles.
I'm still kind of like on the fence. It's like, I understand that they solve a problem But I say that it's too early to tell yet because it's only been like a month and a bit.
Yeah.
I think like after like a year or so, then we'll actually like be able to like tell like whether or not it's going to be like a thing or not. But I do like the idea, like refreshing your console every like 3 years instead of like every 6 years for like a new one. So that's pretty cool. But I just can't see myself like forking out like $300 like every single time. I think that's a bit too much. Like if they had some sort of like scheme where you like trade in, or, like upgrade,
Yeah.
then yeah, I would totally be for that. But
It's definitely going to divide the market. That's for sure. You know, you're going to go to your friend's house to talk to someone, and it's like, oh, you know, I've been playing on my PlayStation. Which version? Oh, the what Pro? The first wait, Pro. It's like, well, I'm on Pro 3, so I get a different experience. I mean, it's going to happen. You know,
the master station.
the master one. The one. Which one? Is that the one that comes with the chip for your hand? Yeah, the chip in the hand. I got
No, it's the one that comes with the blast processor.
Oh, the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's going to have to be a model in there somewhere. And I mean, Apple's been accused of this, right? Planned obsolescence.
Yes.
Where what's the reason you don't keep your phone? Well, you update iOS one day and your phone runs like crap. You know? So I mean, unless Sony and Microsoft adopt something like that, where it's like, oh, you know, I got my PS4 Slim. I'm going to hold on to it. PS4 Pro 2 came out, but yeah, I'm still playing my games. And then one day they don't work so good, or something doesn't work.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, fuck, now I got to get the new system, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's like, okay, every game that's on PS4 runs on the PS4 Pro, right? But that's not to say every game's going to run on PS5, right? You may be like, fuck, okay, I may have to get this shit now. It's going to be interesting, man. But yeah, I think you're right. Let's see how but here's the thing about the Pro success, right? All the sales are being tied into regular PS4. So, and Sony's not going, hey, this is how many Pros we sold, this is how many regulars we sold. So we don't really know how successful it's going to be. But when the Scorpio comes out, I guess we'll see, you know. But yeah, iterative consoles, I still think they're here to stay. Just like cell phones are iterative, graphics cards are iterative, consoles were eventually going to go down that route too.
Before we move on, so do you guys think? So now that we talked about the whole PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro thing, do you think it would be smart for Microsoft to name the Scorpio Xbox One Pro?
No, don't name it Xbox One anything, because Xbox One is done. Is a tainted brand. Let's just be honest. Xbox something. You know, I don't know what it could be. Maybe Xbox Scorpio, who knows? But Xbox One, this is why I said this before. I said the reason Microsoft is really doing this, you know, at least they are like, listen, we fucked up with the Xbox One. It's a tainted brand. We got to start completely from scratch. Look at PlayStation 4. They didn't change it to something else. It was like PlayStation 4 Pro. You know, they kept that name there because they know the 4 is successful. Xbox One not successful. I guarantee you that one is going to get dropped with the quickness, you know?
Yeah, it's just going to be on. They may just be. You know, you say the iterative consoles. I feel like that they're. You know what we've been saying before, that the Scorpio is essentially them cutting their losses.
Yeah, well, I mean that's all other things like Scorpio. From what we've heard, and if it turns out to be what they've said, that's not an iterative console. That's a brand new generation. This thing's literally like 6 times more powerful than the Xbox One. Think about it. The PS4 Pro is 2 times more powerful. This is 6 times. That sounds like a fucking new system, right there.
I think what I'm really curious to see is what game launches with this that can show that power.
But that's that's the other thing about these things. Xbox Scorpio, right? Whatever it's going to be, it's still going to run Xbox One games. Understand? And Xbox One games are going to be able to play Scorpio games. Understand?
If this thing is going to be, it's got to be over $500-600. It has to have something to show and justify that purchase. It can't just say, "Oh, look, you can play not only your 360s but your Xbox One games," and it enhances it. No, show me something that's using the 6 or 8 teraflops that you were talking about.
Yeah,
I need to see the flops in action.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with you. But the problem is, if they do that, then and if the game can't run on the Xbox One, they're going to get a backlash, man.
And that's why I asked the question too. Like, they can't alienate their current Xbox One ecosystem.
They can't.
It's going to happen.
They can't though, because it's going to look bad. And that's the other thing. The Xbox are saying that the Xbox Scorpio is going to be held back by the weaker Pro. No, it's going to be held back by the Xbox One. Let's just be honest, because they need to. Because remember, Microsoft themselves said everything's going to be backwards and forwards compatible, right? A game that could run on the Xbox Scorpio will be able to run on the One, and vice versa. It'll just look better.
I think the
No.
original one will be the one that falls off. I think the S is the one that they added the more power to sort of keep up with that
Kind of,
balance.
but even the S is not that much more powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Microsoft. They got a little bit of a harder road because again, with the PlayStation 4 Pro, it's only 2 times more powerful. They could still run games fine, but when you got a system that's 36 times more powerful, and you're not going to utilize that because you're being held back by the previous console, that's not going to look good either. You know, it's going to be interesting, man. All right, so let's move on to the meat here. You know. Games, man, games of the year. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna list our 3 favorite games that we played. It doesn't have to be the best game, just a game that you felt you had the most fun with, you felt were the best for you, and all that. Manny, let's start with you. What were your 3 favorite games of 2016?
Jeez. Let's see. I'm gonna say The Last Guardian. This is not in any specific order.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Yeah.
Let's see. What was the other ones?
Bound.
No, didn't care for Bound. Shit, I'm totally flopping.
All right, we'll come back. We'll come back to
me.
you. All right, Adam, what you got, man? 3 games.
3 games. Of course, Titanfall 2. That
Yes.
was up there. That was a big
Hold on, Adam. I gotta stop you right now because Adam, you called this, bro. NPD came out today, right? You know, the software, and you said Titanfall is going to shoot back up. Yes, it did. It's number 5. It was number 7 last month. Number 5 now. Very good.
It's good, and it's going to keep going up because other people see this, and that means other people own it, and word of mouth, people are going to come over and play it and be like, what the hell, especially during the holidays. Oh, what did you get? Titanfall 2. I heard about that. Let me see. Oh, wow, that's the butter game. I need it too.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it.
Yeah, Titanfall. Why is that one of your games?
It's just, it was so refreshing. I mean, for anybody that's played it, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. You know, you get this smile on your face. You're like, wow, it just feels so different. You know, especially in this flooded market of SPSs that you have all these running gun shooting and you can run against walls and do all that stuff. I mean, it just feels unique, you know, and it's fun. You know, especially with the mechs aspect. And you remember I got, for those who are watching.
Yes.
Yeah, I got BT. Remember before I was like, I'm waiting for BT. Well, here's BT. So anyway, so it just had that feeling, and it's just fun to go back and play or play online. Like when we were all just jumping around, and remember we could watch each other climb on top of the mech and pull out and doing the whole thing. It's a fun experience, you know. So
right.
that's Uncharted 4.
Ooh, good one.
Uncharted 4, that game, I mean, can't really go wrong, you know. And I even went back and right before playing this, I played all the remasters when they did that whole thing. I did 1, 2, 3 in order, and then 4 came in, boom. And it's just a great series. You know, the story is great. I don't care if he's a serial killer and he's killing other people. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't know how he has a clear conscience and can just like sail around the world with his wife after just murdering all these people. But whatever, it's good. You know, it's a great story. It's basically that's it. It's like when you sit down, especially to one of those Naughty Dog games, you know you're in for a ride. You know you're in for the full experience. You're gonna get the great story, gameplay. And people are like, oh yeah, it wasn't that hard with the gameplay. You know, like climbing and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It was still fun doing it.
All right, and one more.
Oh man, one more. This one was tricky because I kept thinking like, what's one thing? And then while I was thinking, I was like, oh, I'm doing it right now. Rocket League. It's like,
is that a new game?
It doesn't matter. It's for life. That is a fun game, and it's still up there. People still buy it.
Yeah, I don't know, Adam. That's a cheat. I'm not going to give you Rocket
League. I don't know. I think
it's the last year game. Come on, Adam.
Yeah, last year, but they keep releasing new content for it. You know,
no,
sorry, you can't give something just because the DLC was good one year.
Oh man,
pick another one.
All right. Damn, I played a lot.
Man, you said that you can't give something even though that it's DLC, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's almost like an award show that we know of that did that.
Oh shit.
That's DLC.
All right. Let me see. I mean, there's a bunch that is on my list that is still, but then Battlefield 1.
All right, there you go.
You know, because that's another one that's World War I. Hasn't really been discovered. No one really delved into that war, you know. So it's great. It's fun. You know, I'm still going through it. That's why I didn't want to really throw it up there because I was focusing on the other ones.
And it looks beautiful, man.
It looks beautiful. That whole sequence of when someone dies and you see like his birth date and death date. It's like it really builds that connection with the characters. You know, in a different way than the previous war FPS
Well,
games.
It gets pretty funny after you keep dying a couple of times with the same character.
Now, can you jump out? Like, do you have to do the path? Because I just realized at one point that it's like it looked like a map. I was like, oh, can I just switch? Because I'm still doing the tank crew. I'm still with the British tank crew.
No, I didn't go far. I did like most of the airplane missions
Mhm.
and the Arabia missions.
Okay, you got pretty far then.
Oh no, like well, the way that game is structured is like there's like all these points in the map, like these short campaigns you can do for each character, and like different parts of the war. So
So
I'm
you don't.
pretty
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you didn't have to do the whole thing in sequence. You can just jump into the other.
yeah.
See, that's it. I didn't even know that. I sort of saw that when I went to jump back in one day, and I saw a little pinpoint on the map, and it was like continue, and I was like, what if I move the thumbstick? Would I go somewhere else and start?
Yeah.
I would.
You can as soon as you pass the first part, you can go anywhere you want. As like you can only do the first part of that mission, and you keep unlocking the next level as you progress.
All right, Manny, you said you got him
Yeah,
now?
I got it. So I'm gonna
Right.
say The Last Guardian, Uncharted 4, and then I'm gonna say Republic, and the honorable mention is Gravity Rush.
Republic is old.
Republic is old too, Manny. Come
That's
on.
Yo, man,
old.
it wasn't on PlayStation 4.
And Gravity
Oh,
Rush
but
was a
it's still
remastered.
old.
I
That shit is cheating, man.
Yeah.
No,
That's not cheating. It's new.
yes, it is. You just gave Adam bullshit.
Yeah,
for it. You did the same
I
thing.
did it for DLC.
But it's
No,
free.
no, it's just, no,
Yeah,
man. You
no.
got to pick another one, man. Those are re-releases.
Those are re-releases. Yo,
By the way,
man, it was on a PlayStation.
GameSpot actually had an award for best re-release. It's fucking.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Man, come on now.
Oh well, yeah, it's funny because that would mean that I didn't really buy very many. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put Firewatch, and then I'll put.
All right, there you go. You got 3 now. You're good.
Yeah.
All right. Why Firewatch? Very controversial pick there.
Is it controversial?
Because it's not a
because the
game.
game sucks.
Right? That was the thing.
in your opinion?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think it
hold on,
sucks, but I heard
why,
it was.
why did you like it, Manny?
I quite enjoyed it. It was a nice little romp. It wasn't very long. It didn't stay long, and I was fine with it. I liked the art style of the game. I thought although the script was a little bit out of time, felt like it was a modern script thrown into
Yeah, that was my biggest
It
problem with
didn't
that game.
feel very 80s as far as the script goes, but I did find the 2 characters were quite interesting. The little banter that they had throughout the game. I'm kind of glad that they didn't go for the usual bullshit. It was like, hey, look, it's a ghost.
All right, there you go. Chris, man, what you got?
All right, so for number 3, I put Titanfall 2 because I thoroughly enjoyed that. That campaign was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the singularity mechanic and the mech stuff was brilliant, and the multiplayer was pretty good. And yeah, I like the grappling stuff, the whole thing with the fighting in the mech versus outside and stuff. So I gave this game a lot of props. I hope it does well. Like, I'm glad the sales are picking up because people should play it because it deserves your money. It really is well done. And Respawn really listened to people after the first game. They obviously did. Okay, so number 2, Doom.
Yes.
Doom is fantastic. Like, I played original Doom back when it came out. I got the little floppy disk, the shareware and stuff, and I paid for that game. And listen, like, I got the same feels from this game, which is like unheard of with a remake, right? Usually with a remake, you like slap your face like, Jesus, they remade this shit. But no, they did an excellent job. It was so good. The story was good. I especially like that narrator who sounded like he comes from like a Slayer album.
Yes.
It was so good. Yeah, so yeah, Doom, man, it's good. And the multiplayer, but the campaign, excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so number 1 for me is not gonna be a surprise. I'll give it a little drum roll.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls 3.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Dark Souls games. It's amazing. It's still being updated. There's DLC coming out in a couple months, so I'm looking forward to that. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I still put it in and play it. So yeah, that is my game of the year.
Nice.
I'll give an honorable mention though. I'll give an honorable mention. People might be shocked. Give an honorable mention to Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Oh, that is controversial, especially coming from you.
Yeah, they made a lot of improvements in that game. I played the past games, and let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, the story is clunky because it stops you and it puts roadblocks in, which gets really freaking annoying. But they made a lot of improvements. I mean, getting rid of HMs and guys heal your Pokemon on the way, so you don't have to run around to a Pokemon Center every time. And they made a lot of improvements, interface improvements and usability. Like, they must have put some Western developers in there. I don't know, because they made some leaps that I haven't seen.
Even if they didn't integrate it to, like, for example, like a Pokedex or something, but giving you experience share at the beginning of the game is everything to me.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, because it solved the grinding issue. Grinding has always been a huge problem in Pokemon because it artificially extends the game. Let me run in the tall grass for about 50 hours before I go to the Elite Four, right? And then get your ass kicked anyway. So now they fixed that. The grinding is bearable, and they gave you running shoes, right? That was always stupid, that you had to find shoes to do with, so you could run in the game. You couldn't run unless you had shoes, right? So now they give you that in the beginning. You can ride Pokemon now, so you don't need to get a bicycle. You don't need to waste HMs on a Pokemon. You get specialized ones to do things like swim and run around. You can ride on them. So there was a lot of improvement, and it's pretty damn impressive.
Most impressive.
Right, Brian, man, what you got?
I have a very weird list since I didn't really buy anything like this half of the year. So like no Timefall, no Battlefield, no nothing like that. I'm gonna start off with the one game that I played a lot of this year, which is quite controversial, but it's worth
Warframe?
it. Oh no,
Division.
Yes, Adam.
Division. That was
You
it.
know it.
I know. Yes. Okay. Let me just start off with there is a major gap in the market right now for third-person military shooters, and the Division just sits there nicely with no competition. And I'm a massive fan of SOCOM. So without no SOCOM, something has to fill the void, and the Division is kind of like that. It's not the same, but it's there enough. You know, there is literally nothing like the Division in terms of third-person military shooters. Unless you guys know other ones, because I'm just like, oh, fuck. So by default, it gets the vote simply because it fills the void, which is unfair, but who cares? I don't care.
It's a technical.
I would put that on my list. I would put that on my list.
Here's the thing. The thing is that we're not, it has to, it's games that we thought were fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, you're not trying to fill in that void with to fill in the check mark where it's like, oh well, we thought, like
this ain't the Game Awards.
It's not the Game Awards. I said Firefalls. It's not, in at least within here, it's not that Firewatch or whatever. It's not
Firewall.
It's not a
Firewatch
is not exactly the popular pick around here, but I enjoyed the game.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Division, yeah, that is a controversial one, because
that was fun though.
Yeah,
that was
I don't
fun.
know, man. I like me personally, I would put that as one of the disappointments of the year for me, man. I expected a little more from that game. Well, it was just like,
I like some of the missions, but the whole
at the end of the day, you're shooting a bunch of bums that are overpowered. It's like, this is stupid.
But then at the same time, Tony, it is an RPG, and RPGs inherently are.
Yeah,
what they do.
That's the problem. Yeah, I think it just leads to a bigger question. Like, do RPGs function in a real world setting? And I don't know if they do or not. Because again, like in RPG, you have to have like a guy with 1,000,000 hit points. But if it's just a bum, it's like, really, I could just kill this guy with one hit. What's going on here? But it did have very good shooting mechanics. I think that game had the best shooting mechanics of any third person game I played. Yes, even more than Uncharted. I said it. I don't know about Gears of War probably had better. But yeah, very good game from a shooter standpoint. But to me, it felt like and the story never came together. Like it barely had one. But you enjoyed it, so that's what matters.
It was a fun party game. Like that's the one thing I do enjoy. Like Tony, we played that. A bunch of people jumped in.
Yeah, we finished
it. And it's fun, that experience. We're running around together, picking each other up, and it's like, oh, run upstairs, go downstairs. Oh man, what part was that? Remember, it was like a nightclub scene, and we had that one guy screaming and cracking us up.
I
What's your
remember.
buddy,
Yeah,
King KG or something? I don't remember.
yeah.
He was
Some
hilarious.
crazy motherfucker.
We
Yeah.
spent like an hour or so just in that
Oh,
one
it was
part.
Kal-El, that crazy
Hell out,
bastard.
that's it. Yeah, it was like we spent like an hour, just running up and down the stairs, circling around because these fucking guys kept killing us.
Yeah, because they were like these like firefighters with like a million
Yeah.
HP.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Brian, what's your next game?
Next game is one that Tony will definitely know about because I couldn't stop talking about it. And it's coincidentally the only game I've ever platinumed in the same year that it came out.
Oh,
Senran Kagura Estival Versus.
that's right. It didn't come out this year. All right, so tell us about Sengun Kagura, man. What would you like about it?
It had
What's
very
not
good
to like
gameplay.
about it? That's the question.
Man.
Oh man, it had that good gameplay, Tony. Like, wow, Tony, that gameplay was amazing. Like,
I played for the gameplay.
the size of the gameplays was woof.
Yes.
But no, it was a nice, refreshing game because I just come off like playing GTA 5, Witcher 3, and Fallout 4 all in like the same year. So like just going from like massive open world games, like hey, beat up these dudes and have fun. Like I was like, okay, cool. That was nice and refreshing. So it was like nice break, and it reinvigorated my spirit in gaming again. Because at that point, I was kind of like, games I just been like a bit too meh for me right now. And then this came along, it's like, hey, here's something where the story doesn't count really that much. It's just stupidness. It's like, okay, cool. So yeah, that was good. And I can't really think of another one, to be honest, because I've not really bought that many games this year. Like, I have Doom, but I haven't played it yet because stupid Uncharted 2, like Platinum, just taking up my time. I guess the only other game that did technically come out this year, and this is like a cheat, but it's all I have, is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen on PC. It's the only thing else that I have played that came out this year.
All right. Okay. So I guess you're good enough for two. So you didn't play that many.
It's like
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't say the Witcher DLC. That's the only DLC I'll let slide.
I didn't play DLC. Like I can't. It's way too big.
It's a huge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the DLC is bigger than like I heard the DLC is bigger than Witcher 2. Isn't that insane? So that's the only DLC I'm like, okay, I'll let that slide because that's a whole fucking game, basically. Craziness. All right, Carlos, man, what you got?
So, I was deciding between these two, and so it was between two games that were sequels, and both were number 4. So, and one I finished and one I didn't finish.
Oh,
but I still decided to go with Uncharted 4, which I didn't finish, over Gears of War 4, which I liked. But the more I think about it, the more just Uncharted 4 speaks more to me than Gears 4. Like Gears 4 is fun, but it's just and it's got a better mechanics, but it's just like a horde mode. Like the campaign is just a bona fide horde mode.
It just didn't do it for me. I same thing. I enjoyed it. I'm a Super Gears fan, but the story just didn't pull me in with what we were doing. And I don't know. I caught myself zoning out. I'm just shooting and pressing the button and looking around, and I'm like, "Oh, did I finish this part? Okay." I don't know.
Yeah,
it became work.
Yeah, it basically did. It became work.
And the story was okay. It's not as good as like the previous stories, especially like 2 and 3, but it was fine. And the ending was pretty good. But like Uncharted 4 is just a game that speaks to me more. Like it has more things to do. I think the narrative is better. So yeah, Uncharted 4 and what number 2 final do they have to be like ranked? Because I don't know if I can.
No, you do whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so the second one is Final Fantasy 15, a game that I was so skeptical about. I even said I think this game's gonna be crap, but man, I'm glad I was wrong, man, because I've played so much of this fucking game. Like I've grinded so much, like it's ridiculous. Like before I even finished the game, I was like level 50 something, and yeah, man, it's a fun game. It's like the quests are fun. The hunts are pretty good. The story's good. The one main issue I have with the game is that it's an open world game, and then somehow it's like halfway through it's a linear game, which is like the opposite of 13, and I hated 13. But it's still pretty good. The ending is kind of okay, but it's still a good game. And for the first game is an indie game. It's Inside. Man,
Ooh.
I love this game, man. This game was so good. Like, it's a weird game. Like, it's trying to tell you a story, but it doesn't really say much. Like, it tells you a story through experiences and through backgrounds and what you see like the world is. And it's like kind of freaky and scary at the same time. And sort of like the last part of and it has good puzzles too. And the last part of the game is fantastic, man. I love that game. Inside.
Nice. All right. For me, number 3 is Doom, right? I'm gonna expand on what Chris said. What I love about this game, just like he said, that it feels like old Doom, but at the same time, it still feels like a new game, just fucking platforming and so like you weren't really doing that in the original. You couldn't jump and do the original Doom. You could do that. I love the exploration of each like level and stuff. Like obviously, I love just going in there ripping monsters apart and stuff. But I also like those. It's gonna sound weird. Those quiet moments where you're just running around the area, just looking for secrets, getting yourself more beefed up. And the game was like playing like a heavy metal album cover. Like every level looked like a fucking metal album cover. It was great, and it just gave you that visceralness. Like, yeah, this is like a fucking manly game, like no time for pussies here. We just go in there and we're killing shit, we're the biggest badass in the fucking, universe right now. I love that. So Doom is number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna, despite the fact that the game had a lot of issues that I personally had, it's still fucking, wait a game, man. So Last Guardian, I thought was great. I love like playing this game reminded me of why I love those, Team Ico games. Like there's just nothing else like it, really good stuff. I love the ending. That was really good. And this was like, I would call it the more accessible game in the Team Ico series. And I don't know which one I like the most, but I think this is objectively the best game they've put out because it takes everything you like from, the first game, right? Eco, Shadow of the Colossus blends them all together, really, really good stuff. And
I always said that the Last Guardian is a culmination of everything you liked and disliked about all the other games.
Because it's not perfect. The game shows his age, but despite that, like I said, I don't play games like that anymore. Those Team Ico games are very specific. Only Team Ico games give you that specific like feel, so I enjoyed it on that front. And then my number 1 game is gonna be, even though I haven't finished it yet, and this says a lot, motherfucking Final Fantasy 15. Like I knew I was gonna like the game, but I didn't know I was gonna like it this much because you have this giant open world. Like, I was on like chapter 3 for like 20 hours or more, just going crazy, just doing side shit. Like the game just kept tossing side stuff at you and you wanted to do it because in most games, RPGs, if you want to level grind, you just got to go find a spot and kill a bunch of monsters 50 hours. You want to level grind in this, you go do missions, and they give you so many of them.
Or that one guy who just levels up by walking.
Yeah, well, that's a survival skill. And then, this is a game where I went ham fishing. I went crazy with the fishing. I love that stuff,
Oh man, you're playing. It's like you're playing Big the Cat and Sonic.
Yeah, exactly. But better, I caught the 2 biggest fish in the game. I'm very proud of that. I uploaded the videos. But yeah, I'm at the point now where the game it's weird. It's like you're in this big giant fucking like pool, right? And all of a sudden you're in this little narrow tube. It's just funneling you down to the end. But there's a lot of shit, and I definitely plan to get this platinum. I want that platinum now, man. I'm gonna get that shit.
Have you gotten to the Altissia part, like chapter 9, I think?
Yeah, I'm on chapter 12 right now.
Oh, so you beat Altissia?
Yes, chapter 9 was fucking Gary Swaby. He said this, like, that's the most Final Fantasy level this game has.
Yes.
Holy shit. Woo! Yeah, that was good, man. But yeah, I noticed that starting from chapter 8 to like 12, it just rushed you down the hole, I'm like, yo, can I stop so I could save and go to bed? Shit. Like if I'm like, okay, we're stopped now, we're good. all right, let me save my game now. I haven't got back to it now because now I feel like I'm just going to keep going to the end. So I'm probably going to play it on the weekend. I've been saving it, just ready for it. But yeah, again, that says a lot when a game I haven't even finished yet is my game of the year. Because even if the ending is just kind of I've had way too much fun with this game, more than any other game.
Are you sure? Could you have a massive? I mean, here's the thing.
Think about it like this. Think about it like
was a damn good game all the way up to the end. That one bit of that game totally soured you on the whole experience.
Yeah, but this was like with Mass Effect, I still liked it. You know what I'm saying? If I take myself away from that ending, yeah. And this game feels like Metal Gear Solid 5 to me, where it's like the ending doesn't satisfy you, but the game was just so good. You just go with it. And that was my game of the year last year, despite, that ending kind of just petering out into nothing, But yeah, I see the same thing happening with this game. It's like, okay, I may not be too happy, but I've just had so much fun. And there's post-game content too, man. Whew, I can't wait. Final Fantasy 15 is the shit. All right. So that's actually going to do it for us right now. I don't know if you guys want to say anything special to the fans or anything. This is the final throwdown of 2016.
Yeah, I want to say something. If anybody wants to jump on this weekend, me and some buddies are doing some co-ops of trying to finish up stuff that we should have finished up a long time ago, like Dying Light. Do anyone play Dying Light?
Man, okay, I'm gonna say this right now. Fuck Dying Light for this reason. I was trying to get that platinum and it glitched on me. One trophy glitched on me and I just gave up. Because I was ready. It was a glitch where you had to complete every side mission. One side mission glitched on me and I couldn't get that trophy. That was the only trophy I needed to get that fucking platinum. Other than that, I actually very much enjoyed the game. Like when I got a code for it, I wasn't thinking much. I was like, I like another zombie game. I don't give a fuck about that. But like the way you cut zombies up and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Really cool shit. You can make your own weapons and stuff. And yeah, me, Chris, and Brett, we played. That shit was fucking awesome.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like the tricky part with that is because I have a buddy of mine who was like, yeah, I want to play. And he was like, I can't do the co-op. It doesn't work. I was like, because you have to play at least an hour in before you unlock that option,
That's
and
right.
like, so I'm just trying to get people to just get to it. But yeah, we're going to be doing that. We're probably also going to be doing some of Zombieland, Call of Duty Infinite. That's pretty good. I played some of that. And then Uncharted 4. Now that they have all that whole co-op horde mode thing, we figured we all jump into that. So if anybody wants to play, you can hit me up on PSN, Adam 5 BORO, and that's what we're going to be doing this weekend.
Nice. All right. Anybody else want to say something to the fans or anything?
Well, I'd like to thank the fans, all the people that subscribed to our show. I mean, we're like 500 subscribers on our.
So we're 627, man.
We're excuse me, I haven't looked at it.
We're at 200.
We're at 627 subscribers at this point in time. All the people that have subscribed to our Twitter. All the folks that leave us throw down your questions every week. You guys are the heart of the show, and you're the reason why we do these sorts of things. Why we come in every single day, every week, and continuously do it, because you guys want to at least listen to us, which is awesome. And and hopefully, we continue to provide the best sort of the best that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, and it is very, very humbling when you guys I get this a lot more often now. It's like, this is the best gaming podcast they listen to. I love that shit because it makes it worth it. We hear that shit. It's like, all right, we got to step our game up even more. We're already providing a pretty quality show, but
because it's real talk.
That's what I'm saying.
It's real talk. It's like what they would normally do with buddies wherever they play with. You know what I mean?
That's I mean, come on. That's any sort of conversation that any of us have had over the phone. Back when there was no real internet,
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's like, we have real talk, but it's informed real talk. We're not giving you a bunch of misinformation, despite what the fanboys say, but those guys, they can die. But
don't wish death on you.
No, we don't. We smack you guys around a little bit, but yeah, it's like we give you informed shit, but it's real shit too. Like we're not coming in here like kissing ass or anything like that. We keep it honest here, And I'm glad you guys, appreciate all that, And again, this was our biggest fucking year.
None of that Electric Playground sort of shit where you have Tommy Tallarico working on games and giving it 9s.
Yeah, exactly. Come on,
you ain't gonna give that game You ain't gonna give that game up. You wouldn't have given that game a 9 if you didn't work on it.
It's bullshit. You know, because Tommy Talarico is always giving games like low scores, and then the games he works on, he gives high.
He gives them a 9, but the thing is, he never gives them a 10. So at that point, it's like, oh, it's not a perfect game.
He's trying to keep it fair.
He's trying to keep it stupidly fair.
Yeah,
you know,
Chris,
it's funny because I was actually watching because Electric Playground uploaded all of their old shows.
Are they still around?
Yeah, they're still around. You want to
on Hulu?
You want to see a friggin' time like a time capsule. They're probably the only game like show that still exists that has good quality versions of their show.
Yeah, they changed it a few times,
like,
but they're still on Hulu. I remember seeing.
It's like they're literally talking to like Miyamoto, and Miyamoto doesn't look like a grizzled old man. He looks happy and young. You know, it's like. And then also knowing, them talking to these people and then knowing exactly where their future lies. There was an interview with Phil Spencer on there when he still worked at EA.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember when they were on Tech TV. Remember that was one of the shows.
Well, that was the thing is that Electric Playground is way older than that. They're like talking about Crash Bandicoot just coming out on the first season.
Yeah, Chris, what do you want to say to the fans?
Just that we appreciate you listening and watching, and that I encourage you to keep asking us questions, keep challenging us, to debate. No fanboy stuff, but like we keep it honest here. If any of us make predictions and stuff, know that it's based on facts and reason. It's not based on our fifis or anything like that. That's how we come correct with all that stuff. So I encourage you, please keep asking questions and please challenge any ideas that you don't think are right.
Yeah, and we have a pretty good track record around here, so just keep that in mind too. Again, because we don't base shit off of what we feel, we base it on facts, And when you base things on facts, more often than not, you're right. And we have a pretty good track record around here.
Yeah, and even when we're wrong, like PS4 is not gonna outsell Xbox One in November for MPD.
But only some of us were wrong about that.
I was right about Titanfall too. I'll stick with that one.
But so even when we're wrong, we'll admit it. We're not gonna say any bullshit and blame people for your bad predictions, like some candidates,
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, yeah.
Oh man, Brian, any last words for the fans?
You guys pretty much covered everything that I had to say. Like, just thanks for watching, thanks for listening in, thanks for asking questions. It's like one of the reasons why I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like do this show, because it's fun. Shit.
Yeah. By the way, I just realized we're gonna have to kind of repeat this whole shit again when we do the Sunday show.
Well, I mean, maybe there's some people that don't listen to the Sunday show. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I think so, because remember the regular Throwdown show, the one we do not gets more hits in the Sunday show. So yeah, we got to double it up and stuff. So yeah, that it's gonna do it for us, people. So yeah, we're gonna be back. I wrote this shit down somewhere. We're gonna be back January 5th. 2017 at 10:30 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna take a little 2-week break, recharge the batteries and shit. But Throw Down Your Questions will be this Sunday at 10:30, and we're gonna have Adam joining us for the first time.
Yeah. I'll join.
That'll be interesting. We're gonna keep you up on Sunday, Adam.
yeah. So if you got any questions, go ahead, throw them at me. I got a lot.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun, man, because you've never done the question show, but that show can get crazy.
Here's a little fun fact to you guys. This is just, it's Adam just, joined the Throwdown this year. Adam has
Carlos too, son,
and Carlos too. And it's a very, it's great to have these guys on the show. And it's also, Adam for one has actually kind of been a little bit of a person in the background as far as, on me mentioning him. In fact, the season that I hosted, Adam's theme song was Adam's music was our temporary theme song for maybe like 2 episodes. So he's always been there.
And then with the website when you had cool stuff.
Yep. Yeah, man. He goes all the way back to our original cool stuff. The blog.
Anything. I'm like that creepy woman from The Ring. Remember that she was always in the background of the photos. I was like.
Yeah, no, that's the other good thing. We expanded our ranks this year, made us a stronger show. Like I said, I said this on Twitter too. I like the fact that we have like Carlos and Chris here with the tech shit, so if motherfuckers want to come at us with some technical stuff, we got these guys here, to correct them and stuff, and then we got Adam here with the old school gaming knowledge, it's great shit, bringing more, a little bit more Boricua to the show too,
There we go.
It's all good, man. All right, so let's wrap this up. So thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Also help support the site by donating to the Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Batman v Superman's not as bad as people say. Give it a few.
Man, fuck that movie, man.
We went so long without doing this, man. Come on.
Brian, it happened.
That's like saying that Batman and Robin wasn't a bad movie.
Yo, we still argue about this movie till this day. Me and Carlos were going at it earlier.
Yeah, we're gonna go at it after the show.
Ah, fuck. Brian Manjoma.
Man, I had a good outro as well. Okay, let's just say Merry New Year, since that will cover everything, right? Yeah.
Yes, we're not gonna offend anybody, And Adam Vale.
All right, keep spreading the word about Titanfall 2. It's working. People are buying it and playing it, and keep watching Lucha Underground. I'm telling you.
Yes.
If no one watches anything, like, oh yeah, I want to try some, just watch some Lucha. It's on YouTube. You can watch a full episode, and then send your comments and questions to the show, and we can talk about that.
Yo, we got to get these motherfuckers to be our sponsor. You talk about it every episode. Man.
I'm sure
I would love to have El Rey do some stuff.
Damn right. I'll rock their shirt. I'm telling you, put their hat. I support them. It's such an awesome channel.
All right. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching and supporting Throwdown. We got the questions episode coming at you on Sunday. Later.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Peace.